Okay, here we are back in League of Legends. Queued up, landed in the jungle, Sejuani is a go. She was buffed in the newest patch to make her E a lot cooler, to be honest. It does less damage in the grand scheme of things, but the fact that it has so much uptime kind of... well, it helps with the buff camps, I'll put it that way. For the chickens, it barely does a damn thing. But otherwise, she has AP ratios now, funnily enough. Gathering Storm only gives her AD, so in order to actually get that AP, Riot either needs to patch something or you have to build at least one AP item. Overall, I don't know if I'd rather... like, Leandry's is nice in that you have CC in literally all of your stuff. It's just, it's not that good to get that as an early item, so there's your double-edged sword, I'm afraid. Otherwise, for the various matchups, we have Trin, they have Singed, I'm Sedge, they have Kha'Zix, we have Lux mid, they have Ezreal, and then we have Jinx, Sona bot into Jhin Nami. So, this is actually the first game I've had with two AD carries in the bot lane, and lo and behold, we actually have an Ez mid. So, color me surprised. But otherwise, for this particular matchup, the best lane for me to gank is the bot lane. As such, I'll probably be spending a lot of time there. So for Sedge, you want to start with your E in pretty much every single circumstance because it has all that uptime now. Otherwise, I'll try to explain all she does, but there's a lot going on around me, so I am promising commentary for the rest of the game. We're running Aftershock, Demolish, Conditioning, Overgrowth, Gathering Storm, and Celerity. Celerity was recently nerfed, it gives you more movement speed, or a better ratio return from the movement speed.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I don't know, Lux. But anyway, your passive is Fury of the North, gives you the Frost Armor effect where you get a chunk of armor and magic resist for not taking damage. It only persists for 2 seconds afterwards, so Sedge is pretty weak to dot users like Singed. Passive 2 is Icebreaker. If you stun the enemy, you freeze them, and then you can hit them, dealing % HP damage. Capped at 300 versus Jungle Creep.
No spoils for the
Q, Arctic Assault, dash forward, knocks up enemies. W is Winter's Wrath, you swing your flail, does knockback, applies 2 stacks to your frost. E is Permafrost, passive effect is melee attacks from allies will apply frost. Active effects when you have 4 stacks, you can deal some damage and stun the enemy, and then pop that with Icebreaker. Then your ult is Glacial Prison, you throw your bola, stuns, slows, damage, yada yada yada. So sadly, they can't help me proc this. But there we go. Okay, the rest of this game will be post-game commentary because by now you probably know the drill. So cross your fingers and hopefully maybe someday I can actually do live commentary again, but I'm not holding my breath. So right here you get to see me really abuse the new E. It's pretty nice, all things considered. Yes, it does less damage, but it's really handy for the single target camps like that. It also helps that your E is easily your cheapest spell, even if you spam it a lot. Because think about it, your W, you can use the E 3 times for 1 W, I believe, and the E does more damage. Nice thing about the W, though, is that it speeds up the entire thing. But anyway, right here you get to see what I mean by your... well, you only got to see the W and the E there, but check it. Ez tried to poach the crab. So anyway, I was trying to say that every single spell of Sejuani's will interrupt the Scuttle Crab and lower its defenses. The ult should do that too, but I do not recommend ulting the crab. You'll see me struggle with the ult cooldown quite a bit this game, since that's going to be the only thing keeping us going for a good portion of it. You're going to watch bot lane implode by the time I get to the top side, so just a heads up. So anyway, right here I'm fairly low. I have my armor kicking in shortly. The sad part is the whole passive isn't really... it's helpful for the Gromp, I'll put it that way. For the other camps, no, it's not even there. So right here I was looking to see if I was being invaded, nothing showed up, so then I want to go in here. I did a less than effective combo on it. Generally you'd probably want to auto W, Q, E, and you can do a nice chunk of damage there, proc your E, and not take as much. So right here I have to smite this early because I was getting that low. So Trin goes ahead and gets a kill on Singed. And right here I want to peek in on the Scuttle Crab, see if I can get that, because if Singed isn't there, maybe I can get this. Just maybe. You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you? So anyway, top crab's gone. The only thing left for me to do is I can either go for the chickens, or I can go for the golems, or I can go for both. Since I have smite, I want to go for this. So early on, I think you're better off smiting the big chicken. Actually, I don't know if that was this game or not. There was one game I did where the chickens gave me a little more trouble than I intended. In case you're wondering, I played a couple games here. Here's where you get to see Jinx just go batshit crazy. So overall, crit 80 carries are pretty bad. And that brings me to my next point. I played a Kindred game before this one. I didn't do live comm on it because it's a new phenomenon. What I'm talking about is, whenever I play games these days, I have to mute someone. There's going to be someone who does something stupid, and they just want to dig a deeper and deeper hole until they can no longer see the sun. I don't know why, I don't know what's the source of this fad, but every single game. So for the Kindred game, I think I ended up muting everyone other than the support just because they would not shut up. They would do stupid crap and then say, well, why didn't you bail me out? Instead of asking, why don't I stop doing stupid crap? So I don't know if I'm going to show the Kindred game because that one's a really hard carry. I want to say it was 1v9 because the support was decent, so I'd say it was more like a 2v8 if anything. But anyway, going back to this game, on that back I went and picked up the Cinder, I picked up the Vision Ward. Jinx is going to cry and chat, and then I just say, yeah, screw it, you're muted. Sad part is, I'm going to mute the Lux too eventually. So he got the heal that he needed to keep going. Sona comes in, but she can't really do anything, so yeah. So the good news is we got the flash there, and at this point I have to call her out. She wants to sacrifice everything I have in the jungle for one kill, maybe, and she's not going to snowball. She's not good. If she actually were going to snowball and everything, she wouldn't actually be in this situation in the first place. So, don't be like this, Jinx. That's the best advice I can give you. The good news is she gets to get a BF sword when she goes back. The bad news is, what is she going to do with that? So this was something I didn't realize while I was playing it live, but I will go ahead and say it. She's rushing an Infinity Edge. So she clearly doesn't know the patch notes or anything, and keep in mind, had I actually put any effort into that lane, it would have all been squandered right then and there. So if I do show the Kindred game, you would see the new Infinity Edge. Main thing to know is that it doubles your crit, and your crit, or you deal a certain amount of true damage based off your crit rate or something like that. Keep in mind, it gives no crit, she has no crit, so the Infinity Edge would just be 70 AD. And it's the single most expensive source of 70 AD you can get. Seriously, you can buy 2 BF swords, and it's going to be just as efficient if you don't have any crit on that Infinity Edge. It's no longer a rush item, but Jinx is going to do that, and she's shooting herself in the foot. Almost literally. So right there, I have to give that a little tap. But anyway, this game I am going to be going for Red Smite. I normally don't really think of Sedge as being this offensive, but it kind of is a thing. So unfortunately this isn't the same day as when I did that little bit of live comm, because I wanted to point out Gathering Storm gives you AD, not AP, because of the way Riot has this programmed, which makes no sense. And sadly, over the course of the game, I don't actually get the ability to build any AP, so all that Gathering Storm stuff goes into my AD ratio, and I can't use it. So keep in mind, if Riot actually gets off their asses, you can get a lot more out of Sedge than I have here, but yeah. So overall I want to kill the small ones because that's a quick 20 gold. It's basically like a minion these days. Don't really care about the other ones. So my objective here is get enough to finish my jungle item, the Skirmisher Saber, as well as being able to afford a pair of boots. Mission complete. So I didn't drop my pink ward that time around. Overall it's not that big a deal. Main thing is right now I have level 6, so I'm looking to gank, and bot lane is still the best lane to gank at the moment because for one she doesn't have the IE yet, so she's still somewhat efficient. And then we also have the Sona CC that we can throw on top. Goodbye.
has been slain.
So overall you can see Ka isn't really a problem. I can kite him pretty hard with my W. So overall the main problem here is that Jinx has made herself the single best target on the map, and she's also the most vocal. I remember some sort of proverb or line along the lines of the smallest dog having the loudest bark with the smallest bite. There you go. So the only lane I can really work over is going to be top lane. So keep in mind, Singed is considered to be one of the strongest top laners at the moment. I make him extremely miserable this game. So keep in mind, Trin does proc my, right there I had to ult him, sadly. Oh crap, the permafrost, that's what it's called. So he can hit him twice, I can hit him twice, and then we can stun him, and case closed. But right there is the first proc of Gathering Storm. Infernal Dragon goes down because I don't really have an 80 carry. Like, it's not bad enough that the Jinx is bad in the first place, but she also is doing an outdated build, so she has no contribution here for a very, very long time. Sad part is I did cut the recording when Jhin actually calls her out on all the stupid crap she did during the game. So right here, Lux is going to go down, but she's going to take out Ezreal with her.
An ally has been slain.
And that's really best case scenario for a 4-man gank. Right here I was hoping someone was still low, but Nami healed everyone. And right there everything reset. So I think right here you get to see me get creep blocked. So I literally can't move here. I have to wait for the stuff to burn to death. Unless I just beat it down myself. I've never actually had that happen before, where I got pinned on the wall like that. I've had it happen when I go all the way into the camp, but never on the edge like that. So I'm dropping the pink ward here because we have no control over my usual spot. I could basically drop it and then either Nami or Jhin would just pick it up right off the bat. Plus, you've seen Ka in my jungle a bit already, so I'm anticipating more visits from him. As for whether or not that pays off, just wait and see. So if you look at my ult cooldown, we're at almost 10 seconds. So I could look to go top. I could look to go... No, I wouldn't go bot, really. Okay, so I did buy the... Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so one of those cloth armors is going to be the Ninja Tabby, and the other one's going to be the Dead Man's Plate. So I don't know if this is the game where I'm running Transience or Celerity. Like, there's a combination between Celerity and Dead Man's Plate where you can get a lot of damage for one upfront burst when you do that first attack. It's almost like a Predator with Celerity now. I don't know if I'm going to show that combo, but if I can with Hecarim, that is freaking hilarious, man. Especially if you combo with a Nimbus Cloak. Kind of have to feel bad for people at some point. So anyway, right here, Jhin is going to go down to Jinx. I'm moving around to intercept the Nami. So right there, I stun her. And she's dead. Nice old Jinx. So anyway, Singed dies to Trin, but also kills Trin, so they got the assist, they come out a little bit more ahead. We got stuff down in bot, so that's kind of offsetting it. So overall, the reason why I'm not going mid is because there's literally nothing I can do to Ezreal. I don't have the damage to burst him. If I show up, he's just going to step back, he'll start shooting at me, that type of stuff, and then I have to recall. It's not worth it, so I'm not really in any rush to go there. You also remember that it's very hard to land your ult on him in the first place, just because of the way his E works. At one time, he was the most mobile character in the game. It's just... nowadays, one mobility spell is virtually nothing. Look at the new Aatrox.
I won't be denied.
So I don't know why Jin decided to ult there, because let me put it this way, if all my stuff interrupts the Scuttle Crab, all of my stuff's gonna interrupt him too. So right there I took the kill because screw him, and here's where Demolish is gonna come into play. So sadly right here, I wasted my ult because I thought she'd fire Crescendo on a different angle and we could layer our CC, but nope. You have to remember Demolish has a 45-second cooldown, so it's not going to be up for this. Now, I could have tried to go after her like they did, it's just not worth it. Jinx has literally nothing going for her. She really can't beat the support heads up. And in case you're wondering, yes, that's because of the whole Infinity Edge thing.
Fight while cowards talk.
Like, it'd be one thing if she was going for the Storm Razor, that I could kind of justify as a first item because, well, it's normal for AD carries. Here she goes.
An ally has been slain.
So freaking bad, man. And this is such a vocal player, too.
Enemy double kill.
So anyway, right here I'm going to walk in on Ka because you have to remember he has his leap, so I want to save my charge for that. So right here, I flash because I want to get my stun going, but he ults, so I can't get the hit. As a result, the permafrost resets, and there's not really much I can do. So, wasted my flash. We did get his ult, it's just his ult isn't really that valuable. So hopefully right here you can see how the Sedge Clear works. Right there I messed up the combo that you're supposed to do, in case you're wondering. I will show it later on, it's just sometimes I get a little distracted and I don't perform it correctly. Let's see if I do it here. So that's 2 hits on it. So there's 3. I don't think he's actually going to live long enough. Nope. Okay. So overall, Sedge is not really mechanically intensive or anything. The mistake I make here is I put more points into my W because I thought I would need the slow that it gives more so than the charge from the Q. And based on what I know now, the best order for maxing would have been EQW. It's just be aware that there are some matchups where the W is going to be more valuable than the Q. It's one of those things you have to learn to play by ear. So right here we have everyone by the Cloud Dragon. And there's a bug. Sad part is I can't permafrost him if I ult him, so yeah. So I'm trying to get on Jin here because he's the scary one. Ka makes an interesting life choice there. And now I don't have Smite for this, but I'd say it was worth it to take out 3 of them. Because I think my health gets pretty low here. But anyway, right here you get to see the permafrost change in all its glory, because you get to spam this thing on the dragon, and it is freaking sweet. It's a lot of extra damage. It adds up very, very quickly. If I were running Alacrity, it'd probably do a lot more, but I wouldn't. I think Sorcery is just much, much better as a sub-tree. So right here I just want to get the Demolish off. He's trying to prevent me from proccing it. So there we go. You have to remember it's not too much early because I don't have a lot of items yet. One of the things I have been trying to do is just keep up in farm so I get more overgrowth, which I can turn into more Demolish or just more bulk for the enemy to cut through. Because the sad part is, like I mentioned earlier, we live and die between my ults. So right here I'm waiting for the Chain Vest, and now I need 1100 gold to combine those later on. But for now I have quite a bit of armor to answer Jin. I do not know why Sona did that. I was kind of wondering that in real time. So watch what the bug does. So right there we forced his ult out. If you look, Jin's shooting me, but he's not having much success.
Hide behind another shield.
My ult is up now. And I missed. So that's why I can't do nice things for Jinx. And to make things worse, she go ahead and steals that. The reason why this is not a total loss is because that does give her about 100 gold so she can actually fix her build. Since I don't play AD carry a lot, unless you count Kindred, you won't see that on the channel really, but if you go Infinity Edge first, you are setting yourself up to fail. And the case in point this game is just Jinx. Like right here, she's going toe-to-toe with Jhin, and she cannot win that fight. She has too big an item disadvantage.
Shut down.
And the thing is, if I didn't have her muted, she'd probably be crying in chat, "Well, jungler, why didn't you bail me out yet again?" Even though the entire thing is her fault. Poor choices, lack of information. And as I try to mention every single video, ganking does not fix that. There are some types of stupidity that not even duct tape can fix. Right here I need to let that burn a bit more. I was kind of interested to see if the Cinderhulk burn would actually proc the Kindle effect on the jungle item, but it doesn't.
The cold does not forgive.
So overall you'll notice I don't really have too much in terms of Scuttle Crab control just because we don't have a bot lane. So as a result, any resources they throw on the top half of the map could have the enemy support included, and it's going to hurt us a lot more than it hurts them. Hey, Singed. Interesting choice you made there in terms of pathing, buddy. So here comes the ult. You're not going anywhere, man.
Has been slain.
And I'm not sure if this is when he calls me Cancer or not. So keep in mind, the nice thing about Singed is you can run. And the funny thing about Sejuani is you cannot run. So I'm going to slow him with my W. If he's running any sort of celerity gimmick, that's going to chip away at that. Same applies to Hecarim or any other runner in the game, in case you're wondering. And if the ally with you is melee, you can proc the permafrost a lot more quickly. While he's stunned, you get to hit him for percent HP damage. You can just... There's so many ways to nuke the guy into the ground. So right here I undo the null magic mantle because I know the tower was falling. That way I can get the dead man's plate, and now we have the celerity cheese going. Once again, I have to remind you, if you look, it's my AD that's going up, not my AP. Would have loved to get a Leandri's Torment or something here, but game ends before we get to that point. So right here I wanted to ping my ult cooldown so that they know, okay, if we're going to fight, these are the resources we have. And overall, our team fight should be a lot stronger than theirs, just because we're awesome in their lane. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, check this out. So the two of them are laying into me, and it didn't really do that much. Ninja Tabby, Cinderhulk, Deadmans, I have a lot of armor, a lot of health. It's so hard for them to actually get through to me. And the bad news for them here is my ult's coming up. Hi, Jhin. Going somewhere, buddy? No, you're not. So right there we even got the redemption out of them, which is pretty nice.
No spoils for them.
And overall I'd say my ult is worth a kill on him just because you have to remember he's the most fed guy on the enemy team right now. So right here I'm looting the jungle, and I'm just going to walk by Ezreal because he doesn't hurt. Like, there's nothing he can do to me. And the sad part for the bug is he's in an even worse situation because with my armor, his lethality doesn't mean a thing. But in case you're wondering, since there's a Singed on the map, my next item's going to be Adaptive Helm. Right here I'm trying to save Jinx, because I knew he'd be around. So I think right here is the bloodbath because Singe gets across the flame chompers. Lux does nothing, which is so funny because later on she complains that I didn't do anything for her when she could throw out her E, she could try to poke, she could have tried to bind someone with her Q and actually fire the Q correctly, but nope. So anyway, right there we have the null magic, or not the null magic, the Spectre's Cowl. That's going to become the adaptive helm, and that's going to allow me to withstand Singe's poison. So Lux did come a little close there, but not quite enough. So one thing to take away from the game is that dragon control is really hard to obtain when your AD carry is a dumbass. So right there's level 15, and you can see I've changed gears, I'm maxing Q instead. Do the whole hindsight thing, I can tell you I'd rather have the 2 points that I currently have in W and maxing out Q instead, but you gotta take what you can get. So Ka failed his leap there. And right here I can just body block everything Ez has to throw. He means nothing to me. And Jin is effectively the same thing. So overall, with Stormrazor being an item these days, the Randuin's Omen is a lot more potent as a result. In a perfect world, I would have been able to build that this game. It's just, in case you're wondering, after Adaptive Helm is War Mobs, just because I need the healing so that I can duck out the fight, recoup, and return. So right here is when Lux rages. So keep in mind, they're pretty much all up. We don't have ults. So why is she there fighting? Why are they pushed up? Why are they doing literally anything at the moment? So I turn around to try to help her, which was a mistake, because she's going to cry about that.
Shut down. An ally has been slain.
I don't know if all the good players went off to Fortnite or something because we're left with dumbasses. So like, best case scenario, she doesn't know that she doesn't proc my E or something, but stupidity.
Has been destroyed.
I will remove from you.
Has destroyed the turret. An ally has been slain.
In case you're wondering, I bought the Rejuve bead because that's part of the Crystalline Bracer. I want regen at the moment so that I can actually get the health back that I have. I'm trying to remember, I think it was Volibear that I did a very similar build on. And I guess the two are somewhat similar. They both kind of need to run in there. I notice my pink order's still standing up there. That would have been a lot more valuable if Singe actually got a lot more pushing done, but he's not had a good game. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't remember the pick order, so I can't say, well, he picked Singed into me, or I intentionally picked Sedge because he was Singed. It's just I wanted to play Sedge because of her buffs. I don't know how long it's going to last, but Sleeper OP, I'm calling it now. Sad part is I can't get her box at the moment either.
Bristle seems hungry today.
So I'm trying to point out here, we did have shutdowns on us. I guess she wanted to give all three to them instead of just the two, but hey.
I will not hide from Aftershock.
So keep in mind that your ult is a slow as well. Only the one target gets stunned, but everything around it gets slow. Right here, we can go after Singed. Forced his flash. Overall, I'd say we did win that fight. I mean, we did only kill the support, yes, but Trin got a lot of split pushing done. That was 4 of us against 5 of them. Yeah, so yeah, that was both of Singed summoners down. Anyway, right here we now have the Q-Max. You'll notice my ping is going off the charts. That's pretty much why I'm recalling here instead of looking for more gold or something else to do, just because, like, if I try to show up somewhere, there's going to be a massive input delay on everything I do. I need to wait for this to come back down.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
The cold does not forgive.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
So with that, their base has kind of been cracked open. I use this opportunity to steal myself a blue buff, since I'm pretty lacking in terms of CDR. It's literally only the adaptive helm that gives me stuff. So right here, Jinx makes the call, which is a disaster waiting to happen. And right there you can kind of see how little regard I have for Jhin. So anyway, that's my ult, but we took Singed out of the fight. He is the annoying one. You have to remember I can run down Jhin, in case you doubted me. Thing is, as long as the bug can jump around, he's kind of safe.
We fight while cowards talk.
So yeah, I really did enjoy the irony that it was a Singed who said that to me. So one thing I have to stress about this is, actually I don't know if I did a lot of damage to the Volibear game. Probably did, just because of the health ratios. Here, I'm building pretty much full tank. I'm not really looking to deal a lot of damage, I'm looking to deal a ton of CC. So as a result, I can't really duel someone exactly, but the thing I offer is just locking them down so someone else can finish the job. And don't use your W during your Q, because sometimes it goes off in weird angles. But anyway, at this point I don't really need the refillable potion. It's pretty obsolete, and it's easily paid for itself. Anyway, on this back, I want to pick up the Kindle Gem, because as I mentioned, I need CDR. So this gives me a flat 20%. If I take a blue buff, I get 30. And overall, as for whether or not I give it to Lux, I mean, she's doing decently, even though she made a bad call there and tried to blame me. Anyway, right here, my ult is up. We have Sona coming in the wings. We could be looking to fight. And remember, CC is one of the best things to shut down someone that's fed. Sadly, right here I take a lot of punishment just because it's an awkward engage. So in the end, we lose Sona and Trin. We get Jinx, or we get Singed, Nami, Ka. So the Jhin ult is going off right here. I need to get out of here before the 4th shot goes off. And the good news is, since the Q does give you positioning, that allows me to do so. But it's right here when that Warmog would definitely come in handy, because by the time my passive comes up, I'll actually be regenerating and I'll be ready to go another round. Meantime, I need to actually get the money for it, so I need to pop the Scuttle Crab. You have to remember this is worth 140 gold. We also get the Tower Gold. While Frost Armor is active, you can't be slowed, hence why I'm grabbing all the fruit.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
And it's 1400 for the Warmog, so I need to take one more thing. And right here I'm looking for a camp. The only one that I see is the chicken camp, so I need to go over there. So they said GG. I'll go ahead and say that they actually have the surrender vote going. Someone left, I guess. I'm not entirely sure who, but to be honest, they were getting so thoroughly stomped it really doesn't matter. They just did not have an answer to the CC I offered. So there's the surrender vote. And that's all, folks.
An enemy has been slain.
Sleeper OP tank, I tell you. Volibear's only competition for best tank jungler in the game at the moment. So right here I give this to Trin. There's a case made for Sona too, so it could have gone either way. But you'll get to see the stats. You will not get to see Jin provide Jinx some actual valuable criticism on how bad her build was. But otherwise, check out the numbers. Just remember I'm full tank, so I should not actually be that high. Yeah. And I'm out of here. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.